Loud and Quiet presents Midnight Chats.
I hope this is a good sign, but I think this might be the first episode of Midnight Chats which references a previous one that we've done, and I think that means that we're building a back catalogue, right? Which we're told by people who know about podcasts is a good sign, so we're happy about that. Back in the autumn of 2016, I went to go and meet Flying Lotus in an old cinema in London for Midnight Chats, and we talked mostly about the short film he was showing that night, Royal, and the feature-length one he was making at the time, Kuso. If you're a regular listener, you'll recall that we both kind of struggled to describe just how dark, disturbing and disgusting what he's made is. And that night, Flying Lotus had some friends in the house, lots of people who came out to support him on his record label, Brainfeeder, including our guest on this episode, Thundercat. Now, in this, you'll hear Thundercat talk about Flying Lotus, as the two Stevens aren't just label mates, they're also pretty good friends in day-to-day life. And maybe, hopefully, once you've listened to this one, you'll want to go back and check out that Flying Lotus episode. It was number 17, and wherever you're listening to this, you should be able to go back and scroll through and find it. But onto Thundercat, and a quick resume for those who aren't familiar. I could probably do this in one sentence, and that's that Thundercat is the guy that every musician who meets him loves. But there is a backstory, of course. He's from a very talented musical family. His father was a drummer for the Temptations and was also in Diana Ross's band. And Stephen picked up the bass at a very early age, and as anyone who's seen him live will know, he's basically got this supernatural talent for his instrument. By the time he was 18, he'd already joined the legendary thrash band Suicidal Tendencies, and he was pretty recognisable on stage as the guy who'd wear a helmet and shoulder pads. And he quickly became one of the go-to session musicians in Los Angeles, and he still is now. He played in backing bands for Snoop Dogg and Erykah Badu, but it wasn't until Flying Lotus signed him to Brainfeeder as Thundercat, named after the cartoon, that he started releasing his own albums. And a couple of years back, he famously produced Kendrick Lamar's album To Pimp a Butterfly. That was after the pair got in the studio together, and Thundercat schooled Kendrick on some classical jazz, and the two hit it off. Now, what I will say is that if you're looking for the scoop on what Kendrick's next album is going to sound like, then this isn't the place. Instead, we attempted to answer some far more important questions like, are cats better than dogs? What does Thundercat fill his empty suitcase with when he goes to Japan? What's the single greatest video game ever made? You can hear his eyes practically light up when I mention video games in this. And how can you possibly begin to describe just how gross Flying Lotus's Kuso film actually is? And here's a clue, we don't really. So we cover a lot of ground in this. Thundercat released his latest solo album, Drunk, earlier this year. I recommend, as you're listening to this, check out the artwork for that album if you hadn't already. There's some good stories about that. And on the album, he also has loads of notable guests. Kendrick's on it, Wiz Khalifa and Pharrell are all on Drunk. But maybe the most surprising collaboration on it is with Kenny Loggins. And if you're thinking, that name rings a bell, then yes, it is the same Kenny Loggins from the Footloose and Top Gun film soundtracks. So I met Thundercat a couple of weeks ago. It was backstage at a venue called Heaven in London where he was playing. We sat on a couple of springy leather chairs and I really enjoyed our conversation. So this is it. This is Thundercat on episode 24 of Midnight Chats. Thundercat, welcome to Midnight Chats, our podcast series. It's great to have you on. How are you doing today?
I'm all right, man. I'm chilling. Just landed. I'm not too angry, not too tired. Definitely got to poop, but can't do that.
We could take a short break if you need. Just give me the signal.
Nah, it's cool. I'll just poop during the interview. I'm just kidding.
Just to set the scene for people, we're in a backstage room at a venue called Heaven in London that you're playing tonight. It's kind of makeshift. We've got some interesting things going on in here, particularly this piece of artwork, which shows Amy Winehouse and Shakespeare, and I think that's possibly George Michael on the wall. Elsewhere, that throne there, this is quite a famous venue in London. That throne there, I think, has been used on stage by Lady Gaga and Madonna, by all accounts.
Oh, okay, so it must smell weird.
So you got to take that on stage with you tonight.
Oh, man, burn it. Yeah, got it. Totally. Take it on stage and just hack it with an axe. Got it.
How are you doing anyway? How's things?
I'm all right, man. Just I've been on tour for quite some time. Just kind of in and out of lucid like insanity. No, I'm just chilling, man. I'm just kind of I don't know what to think right now. It's been a long time. It's almost been 2 months now.
Yeah. Do you miss home when you're out on the road? Do you just kind of like consume yourself with it? Do you just get by? How do you deal with it?
Yeah, sometimes I start to miss it. Then I start to remember, like, this is what I've done my whole life. So I don't really feel weird about it. It's like I've always traveled. So it's like, every now and again I miss my cat, and I'll miss like the sights and smells, but it's very short-lived.
What's your cat called?
Tron.
Okay, Tron. Yeah. Brilliant name for a cat. What's he like? Or she like?
She is very human.
Does she kind of sense human things?
Yeah, she's very, very humanized. She's like got a very interesting sensibility. Very funny. Doesn't chase lasers.
Yeah.
None of that stuff. She's a little smarter than that. But she is fun though. She's a lot of fun. I like dancing with her. I like sniffing under her neck.
Those are the things you miss when you're out on tour. I think cats are, for me, cats are better than dogs because
they are.
That's official. That's a certified fact, right?
Yeah.
Because cats are they're just a bit more nonchalant. They're not so needy, are they? They're just kind of their own people.
No. Yeah, they're to themselves. And they can take care of themselves. I always tend to think like I feel weird, like I'm leaving my cat behind. I'm like, if my cat was a wild cat, it would like eat once a week. Like I just realized that like cats are just a different, they're a different breed, man.
Yeah.
And
who feeds the cat when you're away?
I have tons of friends that'll come over and feed Tron. I have to tell people no. Like, you want me to go over and check on Tron? And it's like, no. Don't worry, there's like 10 people watching Tron.
But like the cat's getting fed like 13 times a day.
Yeah.
Come home to find Tron has put on some serious weight.
Yeah. Everybody loves Tron. She's fun.
Talk to me a bit about the live show, because is it right that when you guys are performing, you don't, you and your band never play the same set list twice? You kind of you're a little bit more, relaxed about things. Oh
yeah, you try to like change it up a lot, challenge each other a bit, change time signatures sometimes, and try to imply or try to interject improvisation as much as possible, and yeah, but I mean, it's like it's one of those things where we've been playing together for quite some time, so it's a bit comfortable. It feels a bit comfortable to do it, just change things up all the time.
Do you make decisions before you go on stage, or do you make decisions
just on stage? Yeah.
And how have you been enjoying performing the material from Drunk?
It's been fun. It's been intense. Like I have to sing a lot. That's one thing that I'd never anticipated in life. Even over the last 5 years, of like, it never gets old. Like it's tripping me out to know that I'm singing all the time. It's like, what the hell, man? But it's just part of it. So I just go with it.
One of my favourite guests that we've had on the podcast in the last few months was Flying Lotus. And we recorded an episode in an old cinema in not too far from here, actually, a couple of streets away, Regent Street. It was because Stephen was showing his
Kuso.
film. He was showing Royal.
I was here for that.
Then, were you? Did you? Well, I mean, first off, if people have heard that episode of the podcast, heard kind of both of us struggling to sort of describe that movie.
Yeah.
Do you want to give it a go?
Oh my God. Yeah, I don't even know. I don't. Yeah, that's a difficult one, man. I honestly, it kind of threw me off there. I don't know how to describe that movie. It's just really intense.
He was saying that so to fill people in, you've known each other probably about a decade or more, and he's always wanted to make films as well as the music that he's been kind of working on. So how long have you? I mean, as sure as a kind of sort of close mate of his, have you been talking about the ideas and been talking about this stuff that's coming to fruition now? But I bet it's gone back to conversations for years now, right?
Man, it's mind blowing to see it come into fruition. It's like there were moments where, of course, I know Lotus's history with film and stuff like that, and everything from that to him rapping as Captain Murphy was always a shock to me. It was kind of like a little bit of a different facet of his character that he would never let on. Like he would never have known. You're like, no way. And to see his first film is like, it's fantastic. It honestly is. It's like we would talk every now and again about it. And I feel like he influenced me in that manner a bit, because it's like I was a bit of a film buff, but not until I met Lotus. That dude, he knows his film, and to a major degree, it's like it would affect me to the way I would write music and stuff too. But at the same time, it's like I would have never thought that he would actually do it. And the best way to describe it is don't underestimate Flying Lotus.
Yeah.
that's all you can. That's how I can sum it up, man.
I thought it was funny that when he was trying to describe the movie, because he had trouble himself, because it's kind of, it's dark. It's kind of full of dark humor, but it's also pretty much, I mean, maybe you've seen similar films, but I certainly haven't. To me, it was something quite different, and it's pretty gross in moments. So that's putting it very lightly, by the way.
Yeah.
And he told me that his grandmother had been to see it, which I thought was just absolutely superb.
Oh, you got to take the family. You got to let them know how crazy you are.
Yeah, exactly.
You always have to have a reminder, like, don't forget I'm crazy.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely that. When you, with going back, you've known Lotus for a number of years, and you mentioned there that until you met him, he was a guy that could kind of school you in movies you'd never even heard of. What's the best recommendation you ever had for a movie from Flying Lotus?
Oh man, it was the day when he introduced me to Old Boy.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the one that turned me on to Old Boy. And it was just mind blowing. It was funny because it's like guys of a certain cloth. It's like he's like, hey, you need to go see this movie, and I was like, what? I was like, all right, sure, And I watched it, and I was like, oh my God. And he was like, right? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, we just need more movies like that, right? And I was like, yeah, we need more movies like that.
Yeah. Tell us about Old Boy for people that haven't seen it.
Oh, it's a Korean film. It's an amazing film. It's a revenge story. I wouldn't want to ruin it for anybody that hasn't seen it yet, but it's one of those things where the twists are so hard in this movie that it just may give you whiplash, man. It is intense, man. It's everything. It's violent. It's just everything you want to happen in a movie that you would be like, oh, that is cringeworthy. This is that movie, And it's like it's just got this amazing climactic moment in the movie that I just will just ruin your life.
That is some recommendation.
Yeah.
Did that kind of like turn you on to going and checking out other South Korean movies, like films made in that part of the world, that kind of genre? Was that the start of a love affair with that kind of thing?
Well, I was always kind of into it myself to some degree, but I a lot of the time recommendations are important from your friends, and it just fed into it more. I would start going into other places like Poland and Serbia and looking for movies there and stuff like that. And it sparked my interest even more a bit, yeah.
And when you're traveling, playing music now, I'm sure it's difficult to often find the time, but can you, if you're visiting Poland playing a show, or if you're in Tokyo, or if you're in Seoul or something like that, do you try and kind of make a few hours to get out, get to the kind of local DVD store. Pick
Oh
up some
yeah.
stuff.
That happened right before this interview. I just walked off. I just was like, "Oh, we're here. Bye." And Paul's like, "Where are you at? Where are you at?" And I was like, "I just walked off, man. You know,
You've got to see something, haven't you?"
Yeah, they're like, you know, life is being lived, and I will live it. Yeah, I always do. I always do. One thing that sucks though is when you go to different places like that around the world. You know, all the different DVDs, they don't have the same region codes, and not everybody likes English, so they just don't put that as a subtitle option. So you just feel stupid. You know, I've had that happen way too many times. Where I'm like, I'm so excited because I'll go find a movie that I've been looking for, and I find it and bring it home. And I have a multi-regional DVD player, but I put it in the DVD player, and then there's no option for English at all, and it's just like, wow. You know, it's like, these are terrible people. Yeah. But you know, again, you know, I guess nobody's expecting, you know, to reach that market or so. Yeah. You know, but you know, again, you know, you just wait, patience, and it winds up coming around.
Yeah. Where's absolute kind of nirvana for you? Is it when you go into somewhere like Tokyo? Because obviously there's a track on Drunk that's called Tokyo. It's an amazing place. Japan's a fantastic country. When you look at the list of all the places you're going to kind of visit this year, when you see Tokyo on there, do you sort of get a buzz about being able to go back to that place?
Yeah, I freaking love Tokyo, man. I do. I don't know. It's just, I've been gone there for years and years, you know, from my youth up until now. And it never gets old. I get excited every time. You know, just the thought of what could be there, what they've been hiding or what they've been working on, or, you know, what's new, you know, seeing new faces, and, you know, it changes every time you go. Somebody may recognize you, maybe they don't, you know, but everybody's like, it's just beautiful. One thing that's really cool I remember about Tokyo was I remember I got a chance to go see it when it was all lit up. Mm-hmm. You know, they had all the lights blazing and all that stuff, and I think for the sake of energy and, you know, conserving energy or something like that, they would cut the lights off. So there's probably people that are going now that don't get a chance to see Tokyo the way it used to be, where it was like all lit up like Las Vegas. You know, everything was flashing and neon lights and TVs everywhere. I remember it was just like intense, and it's never changed. You know, I go out there with the excitement of what's new every time.
Do you go with an empty suitcase and just fill it with like anime and DVDs and? Yeah.
Well, I learned not to try to do it with the DVDs. You know, that's the thing I was saying. You get out there and they just intentionally don't put English. They'll put like Chinese and like Spanish, but then it'll be like, who Spanish is going to watch this? Like, who is going to make it all the way over here? Your mind's blown at why it won't be English translation, but they just will not put English translation. That could be a slight, you know, that could be a little bit of a slight. You know, I'm paying attention, Japan. But it is one of those things that's like, you know, I do go there, you know, and I just wind up coming home with an extra suitcase or something, yeah.
Stuart, who also sometimes does this podcast, went recently and he came back with a number of like little gadgets and things like that, but also the miniatures. They do kind of, they make everyday objects but just in miniatures, and you can get them from they're kind of like lockers, so you might be in like the tube station and you get a very small version of a, I don't know, not something like traditionally like a very tiny
like a desk.
Pineapple or desk.
Yeah, a desk or a pineapple. Or, yeah.
Is your home full of like back home in?
Nah, I'm not so much of a little knick-knack thing, but it's more like things and like, you know, pieces of clothing or like stuff like that, like rare pieces of clothing or like, you know, I mean, there was like one time I brought home this umbrella that was literally, I didn't realize how collectible it was until my little brother broke it because he was an idiot, and you know, he was holding it against the wind and it popped one of the things, and I tried to get it replaced. And in trying to get it replaced, I found out that it was a rare and collectible. Like it was like more than like a little cool little thing. It was like there's only like 50 of them made, and they were like at one point on display somewhere. And I was like, I couldn't believe my little brother broke it. Nobody could fix it. And it's just, to this day, I could just punch my brother's front teeth out.
Is that from Japan?
It was from Japan. You know, but yeah, it was literally
gutted.
Like I could have just spit on my brother. You know, I still to this day could just punch him right in his mouth for that umbrella that you broke. Oh my god. Anyway, but I tend to look for things that are a bit sentimental for you know I don't know, just for different things. You know, I do have like certain purposes when I go looking for stuff. You know, It's not just cool, I found a little. No, it's like you go to Akihabara. You go to the Nike, you go to the Nike store. You go to Gundam Cafe. I'm not so much a Harajuku guy. It's like I do enjoy it, but it's like I just more so enjoy the things that are not so touristy there, that are more like their actual things. Yeah.
You're obviously a kind of fan of film, but growing up, was music the total dominant force in kind of family life?
It was mostly music. I think music embodies like a lot of different parts of culture a lot of the time too. But for the majority of it, it was music. I was also a bit of a visual artist. But yeah, the main influence now is music. Family, all musicians. And
you mentioned the visual side of things because I wanted to ask you about the artwork for Drunk, which to my mind is absolutely superb. For people, hopefully you've seen this, but the cover features yourself kind of submerged, and you can only see a little bit of your face, but it seems to have gone down particularly well with a lot of your kind of fans because they've gone out and made their own versions of it. Have you seen some of those?
Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny,
Which is some of your
favorites?
favorites?
At one point, I was wondering, when am I going to get the check from Instagram? I was like, this is insane. But it kind of worked out in my favor a bit, It was like, oh, cool. And that part of me just believes that was not coincidence, But, I would retweet them when they would do it, or I'd, like the photos and stuff. But I felt like, am I like supporting Instagram or am I promoting my album? I didn't know what was going on. But it was funny. I like when people get creative with it and make it terrible too.
Yeah. There's a mixture of like abilities going on, should we say, to be fair.
Yeah. It's pretty fun.
That day when you captured the image for the record, tell me about that, because it looks like you're in a kind of Amazonian like swamp or something, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's basically Flying Lotus' swimming pool. An Amazonian swamp. I wish he heard that. He's
will
like,
hear it.
Some weird swamp thing is like, yeah, it was a swimming pool. Yeah, no, that was definitely a swimming pool, and we were just trying to find something, capture something that was the worth 1,000 words thing, and it's one of those things. Eddie Alcazar, I think, is really good at that, and we were in the pool for quite some time. Well, not we. I was in the pool, until I started shriveling up and everything, and at first I didn't see it. I didn't understand. I was like, the whole concept of being drunk and being in water always kind of makes sense. But I think there was a bit more to capture. And it's like when I saw the whole reel back, I was just kind of like, I couldn't see it at first. I was like, oh no, it's just me struggling in water. And then there's this one moment that he finds where it's this a bit calm but eerie calmness, and I'm just like, sheesh, it blew my mind to see it. He's like, what do you think about this one? I was like, oh my god, I was like, I couldn't imagine, like, even trying to think what I was thinking in the moment of him catching that was weird for me. I was like, I don't even know what I was thinking.
I was gonna say, like, what?
I think I was like lost for a second. I was genuinely in the photo, just like, what is going on right now?
It's kind of like a mixture of sort of inquisitiveness and sort of almost surprise.
Yeah, it's like just full on, just, daft.
Yeah.
Just, kind of just in between worlds a bit. And the funny thing is, everything from the eyebrows to the little bubble, it was just, I think it was the right photo. It turned out being the right one,
We've talked about your love of film. What about things like video games? Are you into video games?
Oh man, I've always got my mind on video games, man. It's so crazy watching them, I don't even know what to call it, man. Like, I'm a guy that's been playing games for, good Lord, since I think more than 20 years.
What was your first console?
Oh man, Nintendo.
Yeah, classic. Were you always a Nintendo guy rather than a Sega?
Well, I had both.
Okay.
There you go. That's the difference.
All right, serious game player.
There you go. And I had Super Nintendo, It's like, it's one of those things where it's, it's crazy watching like the weird part of it where it's like, it's hard to get enthusiastic sometimes about them, knowing that they're just going to be this mountain of just insanity you have to climb, and they keep, it's really nice when somebody, makes a platform that's really cool. But then sometimes it's too much, I hate to say it, but like Metal Gear Solid, the last Metal Gear was just like, I gave up. I was like, I can't do this, man. And it was like, then you hear the story behind what happened with it, and then you're like, you're not tripping, like Hideo Kojima and I think it was a Acclaim, Kojima, and they split or whatever. And it was like the game being made was meant to be like this full on, perpetual insanity. And it was just like, I knew it. Like, I hated it. But like, nonetheless, I still get very excited about video games. I just bought another PlayStation. I bought the terabyte PlayStation so I can get to the games faster. But I didn't know, I was checking out the Nintendo Switch, and I don't know yet, man. I'm waiting. Because I never was a Zelda fan, and that was never a selling point for me. Even though I do like Zelda, it's like they're going to have to impress me with the Nintendo Switch. It's like I bought the Wii U.
Okay.
I love the Wii U, But it's just, I definitely, games are always on my mind. I'm like, should I buy another gaming console? And I'm like, no, they're just messing with you now. It's like at this point, they're just making stuff to keep things afloat. As compared to coming out with new good stuff. The last good game I did play, though, was Resident Evil.
Okay.
Oh, my God. Resident Evil. Whew. Oh, my gosh. That game is beautiful. That game is beautiful. Me and Lotus have been waiting for that game for ages. We see the previews. You're like, oh, my God, this is going to be intense. This is going to be intense. And we finally downloaded, and then you can have the option to play it in VR. And it was the best moment on this planet when Lotus calls me. And he just calls me, and I'm like, what's up, man? And he's like, nothing, just kind of, chilling, playing video games. And I was like, okay. I was like, all right, well, you're having fun. It's like, yeah, man, I'm totally having fun, but he's talking to me. And I'm like, it sounds like he's kind of stalling. I'm like, what's going on here, man? And he's like, yeah, man, I'm just playing Resident Evil in VR. And I was like, oh, God, it's really scaring you, isn't it? He's like, yeah.
Please come over and help me.
He was like, you got to come over here, dude. This is too intense for me. I need to be in some reality for a second.
Amazing.
Yeah, man, that game is that's the last, and of course there's always the classics like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
I wrote a song and it's got Mortal Kombat in it. It's like I love Mortal Kombat. Waiting for Tekken. All that stuff.
Are you a fan of the kind of like first player action thing, or do you like sports games? Or do you
hate sports games.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you can't be a fan of both. I don't think it exists. I think guys that play sports games are too attached to reality, so it's like a gambling problem. It's like a person that is like, oh, you can't play, you can't go and you can't fantasize anything. No. You just have to see reality all the time. It's got to be. It's got to be like, real life. I only watch basketball, and then I play basketball. Yeah. There's no fantasy to it at all, But, there's some people that do play it all. But, I'm not a fan of sports games. Not at all.
What about the very originals? Because I recently
there's NBA Jam. NBA Jam, that was fun.
I think I did play NBA Jam.
NBA Jam was fantastic.
Yeah, I think the British obsession has always been with like the soccer games. Obviously.
Yeah, FIFA.
So, exactly, FIFA and Pro Evolution Soccer.
I think I played FIFA one time. Somebody tried to get me into it. I was out here for a conference at one point for something, and it was actually during it was I was in Paris when the shootings happened.
Oh, okay.
And we were trapped in the place where we were, so. After I destroyed everybody in Mortal Kombat, I was like, man, let's play something different, So the guy busts out FIFA, and I'm just like, boo, I'm like, this is trash. And so he goes, nah, man, you just gotta, you gotta check it out, give it a second. And so I'm playing, and I'm like, I'm looking at how long it takes to get a goal. I'm just like, this is just absurd. I was like, I can't do this. But I gave it a try. For the record, I did give FIFA a try.
I tried to find my original NES in the attic at my parents' house recently, and broke my heart, but I couldn't find it. It must have been sold at some point.
Your parents already, they get rid of it as soon as they think you're not looking.
I know, and they probably pocketed like the kind of 20 quid they got for it like 15 years ago.
Good Lord, not realizing that it's like a valuable article of history, But, again, I'm just, if you're a gamer, you are. If you aren't, you aren't. That's just what it is.
I've got fond memories of, obviously the like original Super Mario's, but then, so good.
Yeah.
But then even games like, they're so kind of, when you go back now, like pretty rudimentary, like Duck Hunt.
They're still hard as hell.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, they're harder than most of the games we play now, which is really interesting. That's that thing I was telling you about, where it's like you just realize with video games, like, this is weird, It's like am I in like some weird, perpetual Groundhog's Day of weirdness, or are these games, you know, like actually good? You know, like you're looking for that, you know, because like you're saying, like those games were hard. They were not easy to play.
Are you fully on board with the whole VR thing? Do you think you're going to
Yes,
get into
I am. I was on it a while ago, a couple years ago.
Yeah. Where do you think it's kind of? I mean, I've not had the chance to give it a go yet. So what? Is it completely fully immersive? Is it like? Does it take gameplay to a whole different level?
It does,
Okay.
but you have to, you know, it's just something, a new learning curve. You just have to get used to it. You know, it could knock you off your equilibrium a bit, you know, if you're not careful, and if you're in it for too long, you know, you take the glasses off, you're like, whoa, you know. But it's great, man. It's great. I've never experienced anything like VR, and it's fun, you know. You know, at some point, I'm hoping they'll be able to make it a little more comfortable, you know. But you know, even if they don't, it's what it is. It's its own separate gaming experience, and to have the option is more important than anything, you know.
Yeah. We talked about Flying Lotus and his like ultimate ambition to go out and want to make a film. He's always wanted to make a film like Kuso for years and years since he studied at university or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But what about yourself in terms of like? I mean, it sounds like you're pretty passionate about video games. You know.
No, I don't want to make a video game.
No.
Nah.
Have you ever had an idea for a video game?
I mean, I have moments where I wish they would bring certain types of gaming back, like, you know, Siphon Filter or like Tenchu Stealth Assassin, you know. But I don't know. I've never been, you know, into the idea of I've always thought about, you know, music for video games, of course, you know. And
have you done anything like that in the past?
Well, there was Grand Theft Auto.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me and Lotus, you know, were involved in that, and they had the radio station with Flying Lotus FM, you know, and he would play music and stuff. I think that's the coolest thing that has ever happened in a video game ever, dude. That will go down in history as one of the coolest video games to ever exist. Grand Theft Auto 5.
Unbelievable game.
Yeah, hands down. Shout out to Rockstar Games, man.
Is that I mean, pretty much an impossible question. It's like asking somebody what their favorite album of all time is. But is that in that? Is that
the game
top,
of games?
Is that the game? Is that the king of games? Is that the all-time greatest?
I gotta say, yeah. Like, especially when they made it like LA. It was like, I was like, I would do, like, you get caught up in, you know, you would get caught up before playing the game and just going around on killing sprees and stuff. But now it's like, you don't even halfway want to kill anybody. You just want to get a dope car and like drive around LA and go to the strip club and just literally just vibe out to like Fly Low FM like you would normally do during the week.
I remember that really well because you would just like kind of almost like arm down, just like, oh,
yeah.
I actually stopped playing this game technically like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, and then you're just in your car like doing the same thing that you were doing in the video game, and then the night progresses and you do the same thing, and then you come back to playing the game and it's like, wait. Like, wait a minute, am I the game? Yeah, but yeah, Grand Theft Auto I think will go down in history as one of the best, if not the best platforms.
I wanted to talk for a moment just quickly about Drunk, the album you've recently brought out, because among all of the guests that you've got appearing on that record, one of them stood out for me, and that was Kenny Loggins.
Hey.
How was it? Like, how was it working with Kenny Loggins, the king of soundtracks?
Kenny is the man, dude. Like, I'll say it once, I'll say it again. Kenny is the man. You know, he's just, you know, he's been around forever, you know, and that's one thing that, like, I think resonates more than anything. You know, most people fade to black or just disappear in obscurity. You know, but Kenny's like been there, the same person, I think, the whole time. And I think that was proof of it by them working together with me. You know, it's like there's I talk to Kenny every now and again, you know. And the funny thing is he's like he shies away from like being involved in like events sometimes, but I understand it, you know. Cuz it's like he's been around for decades. Like he's been around literally, you know, before I was born. And, you know, he's just, you know, I think he just tries to do things that mean something to him, I think. And I think that it posed a challenge to work with me, you know, and I think that's what made him want to do it. Every time I look back on the song, it just kind of like I smile because it's like, you know, it's just, I remember the process and I remember, you know, the feeling, you know, that I experienced when I realized like I'm sitting here writing with Kenny Loggins and Michael McDonald, you know, And I was just like, if I could do anything, if I could ever, like, when we look back, I'll be like, oh, there was that one moment, you know, when it exists.
Does that rank among the great kind of Thundercat moments in your career?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Did you find yourself kind of like being a fan with him when you first met him?
I just kind of like, I had to try to find the balance, because it was like, you know, he would like ask my opinion, and I would just be like, whatever you say, Kenny, whatever you say goes. And I would have to like stop myself. I'd be like, wait, let me just take a second. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be right back, you know. And then I'd go and like try to gather my thoughts, and I come back and like, I think it's a great idea, but maybe we could try to, you know,
just like calm us out. Like, no, we are here for a reason.
Let me just go smash my toe with a brick or something.
Thundercat, thank you very much for joining us on Midnight Chats.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like I should go and play Grand Theft Auto for the next week now.
Hey, man, we did it all, the American part of the tour, man. How old is that now? I think it's like 4 years old or something.
It's got to be. It's got maybe even a bit more.
Yeah, that game, it's still just as dope. It was crazy. We started from the beginning and everything, and it was like me and Bodie Math and Justin and Dennis. We were just sitting there like, whoa, this game is intense. It just doesn't lose its luster, man.
Midnight Chats is a Loud and Quiet podcast. Production by Emma Snook. Music courtesy of Gold Panda. Search Midnight Chats on iTunes for more episodes and to subscribe. For more information, visit loudandquiet.com.